Welcome back to the Whiskey Couch here in Pretoria, sunny South Africa, with me, GUSTAV MULLER, as your host. This is Whiskey Tasting and Food Pairing number 157, and it is the third last in this long series that I'm doing on 14-year-old single malt whiskies. So after this one, there's only two more left, and then we are at the end of this 14-year-old series that I'm doing. Each one paired with bruschetta and a topping that will connect with the particular whiskey that I'm reviewing. Today it is the Balvenie 14-year-old Caribbean cask from the Balvenie Distillery, situated slap bang in the middle of Speyside. Very well known whiskey area right there, Speyside in the Highlands of Scotland. That is an enlargement of that area, so right there you will find the Balvenie Distillery, founded in 1892, and it is owned by William Grant and Sons, if I'm not mistaken. This is a photograph, Balvenie Distillery, and some of the, what is that, in the distillery, one of the washbacks, washback number 15, and there you have the distillery itself. Fantastic. So this particular whiskey, the Balvenie Caribbean cask. So this series was very interesting. In this 14-year-old single malt series, we had a bit of everything. And today we're having the Caribbean rum casks. So aged 14 years. Further maturation in Caribbean rum casks enhances the Balvenie's vanilla notes whilst adding spicy aromatic qualities to the whiskey. Bottled at 43% alcohol by volume. This single malt spent many years maturing in traditional whiskey oak cask, which is ex-Bourbon, before being transferred to the Caribbean casks. The Balvenie Distillery has been owned by the same independent family company for 5 generations. Nowhere else will you find a distillery that still grows its own barley, that still malts its own traditional floor maltings, that still has coopers to tend to the casks and a coppersmith to tend to the stills. That, my friends, is the Balvenie Distillery. So let's see what this beautiful single malt has for us today. Balvenie 14-year-old. I was so impressed in the previous video with the Balblair Vintage 2000 14-year-old, bottled for the South African Whiskey Live Festival 2014. So let's see how this whiskey, how this compares to that one. You can probably see the legs there on the glass forming. We've got a bright honey color, and on the nose, very different to the previous, to the Balblair, very different. I'm getting a spicy wine aroma and then some dark fruits. There's a richness, a very clear richness to this. Creamy, sweet toffee and honey. Caramel. There's a bit of fresh fruits, but dark fruits, almost like more stewed fruits. Plum. Banana. Sugared nuts. This is an interesting nose. Sugared nuts, and then that spice wine quality. A spiciness like a cinnamon and nutmeg spiciness, but in a wine context. On the palate, ooh. Yeah, this is very different to the previous one. This is much darker. A dark richness, a dark creaminess, a dark honey flavors. And then that spiced wine, gluhwein. Gluhwein, the German term, or mulled wine, I believe, is the other word. That's what I'm getting here. Pardon me, with the winter spices and again the dark fruits, the plums, some sweet oak and some brown sugar that's resting on the palate at the moment. Some flavors emerging as I'm sitting here. The finish is lingering and I'm getting a warm feeling, a warm soft feeling with a little bit of sweet toffee, spicy vanilla, and then right at the end a bit of a dryness, but not astringent, just slightly dry. Yeah, this is a wonderful dram. Brown sugar. More fruits emerging, citrus and mango. This is very nice. Let's see what a few drops of water will do. It's not as rich and as viscous. The Balvenie that I did on the previous video was extremely viscous, almost syrupy. This is not as viscous. It's got a creaminess to it, but not as syrupy almost as the Balvenie. Fruity toffee and spicy vanilla. After a few drops of water. After a few drops of water. The water softens it a bit with a bit more fruit and creamy. The spiced wine has now got like a creamy quality to it. So my summary for this whiskey would be, I would say vanilla sponge cake with sweet fruit, and I can see the spiced wine drizzled over everything. This is an example for me personally of a ex-rum cask whiskey where the rum cask has actually enhanced the whiskey and has not overpowered it. So I've got a lot of respect for Balvenie after this particular whiskey. The price here in South Africa, unfortunately, for a 14-year-old is a bit expensive, 1,000 Rand. From what I understand, £55 in the UK and $65 in the US, more or less. If you want to pair this whiskey with a food snack, and my challenge for these 14-year-old single malts, bruschetta with the relevant applicable topping that would connect with the whiskey. So you would never guess what I have for the Balvenie 14-year-old Caribbean cask. Just have a look at that. Bruschetta with beef burger. I've cut a slice of beef burger and it's on top of my bruschetta. There you go. But here is the trick. I've barbecued these beef burgers with Asian plum sauce. This is the secret. Asian plum sauce. So you've got a sweet, sticky, slightly salty, plummy, dark fruit flavor that is now coating this burger, and to top it off, a fresh slice of plum. And I cannot wait to try this. So I'm just going to go straight ahead. The saltiness, the sweet plummy sauce, that freshness of that slice of plum. This hit the target straight away. I just want to sit here. I'm seeing like a sunset before me, tranquility. I want another bite. I want another sip. Fabulous. What an experience. Thank you for joining me on this 14-year-old single malt experience. If you find this valuable and you enjoyed it, please like this video, subscribe, invite your friends. It will help this YouTube channel. And until I do the next 14-year-old single malt, Slàinte.